boom, there we go. Hey, praise the Lord, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Sound Gospel Radio, where we are building hope, transforming lives 24/7. So good to see everybody. Musicians, where y'all at? It's too quiet in here. All right, thank you. I'm telling you. All these
Hey
donations
y'all.
folks are bringing in. All these donations folks are bringing in. You got to make sure the music is playing and things are going. Amen. Listen, y'all should hear me at Fresh Wind. I'm worse with the musicians at 7 o'clock in the morning. But listen, I'm only in here real quick, not to be long, because it is the female takeover. So I'm going to let the women do what they do best. But I want to give a quick shout out to so many people that listen to us right now at soundgospelradio.com. Listen, awesome music 24/7. So many people are listening to us right now. Right now at soundgospelradio.com. I mean, people are listening for real, from all over the place. I can name from DC to Ohio to Detroit to Kentucky to parts of California, literally right now listening live, okay? Right here at Sound Gospel Radio. But then also, people are not just listening to our great show tonight, but they're also watching us live on Facebook and YouTube, and that's just a little extra. But the main thing is Sound Gospel Radio, 24-hour gospel music, 24-hour great music here. So again, just want to say thank you to everybody that's here. Listen, before I get moving, today is the final drawing for our calendar fundraiser that we did in the month of April. And Jaleesa and I just want to say thank you to everybody that donated, everybody that participated. We appreciate every single one of y'all. Listen, you still got a little bit of time. You want to donate in general. Even though the fundraiser is over, you can always donate PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, the mail. Right in order, too. PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, and the mail. And people literally send us donations in the mail. We recently received donations through the mail, so thank God mail ain't snail over here at Sound Gospel Radio. Praise the Lord. So I just want y'all to know that. All right, we're going to get going. I want to show you what the fundraiser was and what happened, and we're going to talk about the drawing. We're going to do that right now, and we're going to have you-know-who tell us what to do. Go ahead, sis.
Hey family, help Sound Gospel Radio fill their calendar. All you have to do is pick a date, donate, and wait to see if you won. Oh yes, pick any date in the month of April and donate that dollar amount of the calendar date to Sound Gospel Radio. And then wait each Thursday night on Let's Talk About It to see if you won. So, if you chose
April 12th,
all you have to donate is $12. And then you'll be added into the weekly and final drawing. That is pretty cool. Go ahead and visit soundgospelradio.com to pick a date, donate, and wait to see if you won. Help me fill my calendar.
Help me fill my calendar. Help me fill my calendar. Help me fill my calendar.
That's right. One last time.
Help me fill my.
Hey, you know what to do. You know what to do.
Help me fill my.
All right, listen. So that's what happened, y'all. We had the calendar fundraiser for the month of April. Today is the final drawing. So listen, the music is back. We have the spin wheel up. Come on, spin wheel back up again. That's it. And we're about to spin the wheel for who's going to win the final drawing. What is the final drawing?
grand prize.
Or a grand prize. Yes, Julissa, thank you so much. Gas or groceries for the whole month. Y'all know, listen, gas is high. Okay? Groceries is high. Back in the day, my mom could feed a household off of $100. You can hardly do that for one person these days. I'm telling y'all, times have changed. But anyway, gas, groceries for the whole month. Gas or groceries for the whole month. We want to see who wins. We want to see who wins right now. Let's get the spin. All right. Go ahead, y'all. Spin it. And the winner is...
I knew it. I knew it.
She won again.
I knew it was going to fall on her. I knew it. She don't even drive
funny.
or buy groceries.
She eats and rides, so she's a winner. She can't help herself.
Passenger princess.
What is your executive decision?
Team, what do we do? This is a child. Do they win the gas or groceries?
Let's spin it again.
I think we just
Maybe let's give her
Sorry
a
to the
t-shirt.
lane.
Oh, we're gonna bless her. She's gonna be double.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Something more child
Okay.
appropriate.
Yeah.
We need,
Trust
18 and over.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Sonia Henry.
Wow. Okay, Miss Sonia Henry. Well, congratulations to Miss Sonia Henry, who won the final drawing for Sound Gospel Radio for our grand prize. And to God be the glory. Thank you for donating. Thank you for supporting. And again, do not forget to support Sound Gospel Radio, where we're building hope, transforming lives 24/7. Listen, I'm getting out of here because tonight it's going to be an amazing conversation with what men don't understand.
The female takeover.
Bye.
So
Bye. Don't even need all that.
What? Seriously? Do it again.
the
Bye.
female
Bye.
takeover. Y'all see the title. What men don't understand, the female takeover. We got the
They don't know when to leave and not come back. Come on,
That-
here.
Right,
that's
I would
something
say
men
they don't
understand.
Right, when we're ready, we're ready.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Don't come back. Not right now.
Yeah, y'all come back later when we need you. All right, y'all. So y'all saw the title. Y'all are here because we're the female takeover. We have the women here. Y'all are familiar with all of us. Me, Jaleesa, co-founder and vice president. We got my mama, Mrs. Marcia Johnson. We have Chamomile. That's what I call it, Camille. And then we have the firecracker, Miss Tanika. So
Yes, she is.
let's get this show started. Let's get it introduced. I'm glad we got the preliminaries out of the way. Congratulations to the grand prize winner.
Yeah.
But today's show, we're just going to switch things up just a little bit with what men don't understand. It's a women-led conversation. Of course, we're going to talk openly. We're going to talk candidly. We're going to be funny and humorous about our emotional experiences, conversation and communication differences, everyday relationship dynamics. And we're going to talk about it in a way in the hopes of helping men to understand. Now, I want to preface this by saying this is not going to be a bashing session. This is not going to be a men versus women, a us versus them thing, because we need men the same way they need us.
Right.
The whole goal and the premise of this show is to be candid, to be funny, to help y'all learn how to maybe relate to us, maybe help answer some things you may not understand. This is for all men, married men, men wanting to be married, single men, people in relationships and friendships with females. This is just encompassing all of it. And those who've watched the show and who know me personally know that me carrying on conversations is not my forte in this realm. And the good thing about leadership is knowing how to delegate. And when you delegate, you know how to let the person who knows what they do and do it well and they're committed and dedicated, let them take the reins. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to have our firecracker sister Tanika. She's going to be the host for today. She is going to do majority of the leading of the conversation. Of course, all the ladies here on the panel are going to converse. I'm about to say conversate. Lord, ooh.
They're going to get activity we were talking about.
Right. Goodness, tried to creep up on me. Converse, and let's get this conversation started. Tanika, the ball is in your court. What don't men understand? Where are we going to start with this conversation?
So I think, well, one thing I wanted to know, so it's 4 of us up here. 2 are married and 2 are not. And so I think that that wasn't how we planned it, but it's just how the Lord would have it. So some of the things you hear will come from the single aspect. Camille and I are still waiting. So if you out there, DMs are open in the name of the Lord. Shameless plug. And then the DMs are not open.
Single men, not married men.
No, single and surely saved. Show enough saved. Okay? We don't want to rebuke you. Right. And so for my other 2 ladies, of course, their inboxes are closed, been closed, gonna stay closed. Don't make the brothers fight. Don't do that. But let's start off with something pretty simple. All right. We know that women are full of emotions and men have said it for years and years. But why do our emotions get misunderstood so easily? How about that?
That's good.
Sometimes
It's hard to understand something that you don't experience, you can't relate, or you don't have a point of reference for. So our point of reference usually starts with our own experience. And if truth be told, men have emotions too. They just been taught or programmed to hide them or pretend that they don't exist, because your emotion, all humans have emotions. We get angry, we feel pleasure, sadness. So men experience that, but most of the time they've been programmed to be a robot. And in that programming is mean you only show strength, and strength looks like this. So ours get misunderstood as being overly sensitive, or as if we don't understand why we're feeling what we're feeling. And and sometimes we can't articulate it in a moment. So that makes men confused, or they interpret it to mean one thing or be one thing. So that's what they respond to. That can cause misunderstanding. So if you don't understand something appropriately, you don't know how to appropriately respond to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think sometimes too is we don't know how to articulate what we're feeling, or sometimes we're maybe not honest about what it is we're actually experiencing or feeling for many reasons. It could be not wanting to hurt someone's feelings. It could be we were never actually taught how to be honest in what we're actually feeling. It's always the acting like we're okay, saying we're fine for the fear of seeming weak, or the stereotypes of that women are emotional, that we're always crying, or that we're always whatever. So to not be perceived that way, we'll say, oh, I'm good, or I'm fine, or there's nothing wrong, or when it's not the truth. So sometimes it's being truthful and honest with ourselves of what am I really feeling right now, and being okay to sit in that. Because sometimes I feel even too as women, we're afraid to sit in what we're actually feeling. Like we think we always have to rush through everything. And I'm not saying wallow in something that's unhealthy, but it's okay to real sit in and this is how I'm feeling. I'm upset, or I'm angry, or I'm sad, or I really don't know how I feel. I feel like if anybody watches Golden Girls, I just feel magenta.
Yeah.
Like when Blanche said that feelings, you're not quite blue, you're not quite green, you're not, it's just a lot of things going on. So it's being honest, and may not know what I'm feeling, but that's at least expressing it, saying something, and not just saying I'm fine when you're not.
Yeah, absolutely. Camille, were you going to add something? No, it's just like, nope, they said it all.
Yeah, no, they did.
So I think absolutely, I agree with both of you. I know a lot of time, girls growing up we're taught to show emotion, right? To be girly. And, there are certain characteristics that people will place with certain genders. And so a lot of times men were taught not to show emotion, to be tough, don't cry, and all this. And then we wonder why there's a stigma when it comes to mental health in men. Right. So I know that's not the topic for tonight, but that made me think about the way that women process emotions. Some of us, like myself, I process emotions out loud. Like for the most part, I can pretty much say what I'm feeling, and I kind of just put it out there, and I'm ready to deal with things head on. Right. For others who may be a little bit more introverted, maybe they need more time to process, they may shut down. And so the way that people look at those two dynamics are totally different. I've been called names like aggressive or too assertive compared to someone who may be seen as more passive because they haven't spoken up soon enough. Right. And so I think that misunderstanding comes from timing rather than somebody not intending to hurt or be offensive. And so sometimes we're not asking for solutions. We simply are just thinking out loud.
That's true.
And that happens.
That's true. And I feel like sometimes a lot of men, I think by nature and by environment and upbringing, they're taught to fix. So if they hear a problem, or they hear us venting or complaining or whatever, their mind automatically goes into how can I fix it? And there's sometimes we're not looking for you to fix it. We're just lamenting. We're just venting. We're just complaining.
That's a good point. That's really good, Julissa.
We don't want you to fix it. I just want you to hear me and sometimes indulge my foolishness. If I'm crashing out, not for real crashing out, but if I'm just lamenting and complaining, knowing I'm not serious, sometimes I just want you to sit there. I'm like, yeah, babe, let's go. And then move on.
Right.
Move on from it. I don't need you to fix it. It's just I'm complaining.
Right. And sometimes we're fine, but we still need a minute just to feel whatever we feel. And I know coming from like the human services world, I teach my social workers, let people feel how they feel because we're human. All of us have emotion. It's like, yeah, I'm good. I just need a minute. And people have to recognize that. And when somebody says they need a minute, give them a minute. And a minute does not necessarily mean 60 seconds.
Right.
Right. It just means
Right.
give me a chance to process and to, regain my emotional composure. So I think it's when women understand it, then we got to get men to understand it. And, they think totally different. We'll overanalyze in 2 minutes and they'll be more logical and have 50, solutions.
Right. And I think that's good to go with, because Elder's in the comments, as a man, he's saying men will ask what's wrong. And a lot of times, sometimes women will say nothing, going back to either not having the words, whatever our reason is. But even if it's at the moment, we as women should learn or get more comfortable with saying either I'm not ready to talk about whatever's bothering me at the moment, or can I have a moment, or can I, and then come back to it instead of just saying nothing, because all it does is it confuses men. And then we end up frustrated later when they stop asking or they seem like they don't care. I'm like, well, every time we ask you, you tell us it's nothing. So it's funny too. And then we have Miss Anna Simmons who says when we show our emotions, it can be a turn off to men.
Yeah.
They don't understand
sometimes.
it.
Yep. Sometimes. The point that Jaleesa was just making, also a perspective, has to do with sometimes age and personality. Because a couple of things that you all said growing up, I can remember at a certain age, definitely the teenage years, maybe even to my 20s, probably mid 30s too. It was the either nothing's wrong or the shutdown factor, when really I was just feeling, oh, something is wrong. I'm just not ready to talk about it yet, but wasn't taught or didn't know how to say just that. Because sometimes, Tanika just said it, that direct, honest approach comes across as aggressive instead of assertive. And for me, personality wise, now I need to be just straightforward. So I'm not hinting, or so that you're clear, and even clear in the timing. I need you, but I'll let you know when I need you and how I need you. I don't need you to try to fix something for me now or at all. I just need the moment and the processing part. We like to let people, if somebody's happy, we don't usually try to rush them through the happiness. We don't say, oh, that's good, but hurry up and get over. But when somebody's sad, we want them to hurry up, or angry, we want them to hurry up and get through it because it makes us feel comfortable. And sometimes that's projected out on men, where they want to know, because sometimes they're trying to see, is it me? Is it something I said or did that has put you in this space? And if it is, maybe let me try to address it. Again, I think that has to do with personality and age, because with my age came a certain maturity and a confidence and a safe space, knowing that whoever the man is, whatever the relationship, not just your husband, it could be your sibling, it could be your father, an uncle, or just a friend, personality. I may not feel safe enough to really be honest. And especially if it has to do with them. If I'm in a bad way, in a bad headspace, and it has to do with them, women, we usually are still thinking, I don't want to say, because I don't want to hurt their feelings. I know how I'm feeling right now, so I don't want to make them feel that way. Or if I'm honest, it is going to offend them or hurt them. That's not my intent. But the older I've gotten, I've learned intent still does not erase the impact that something we say or do has on
Say
someone.
that again.
Yes.
Impact does not erase. Intent does not erase the impact.
Yes.
So you may not have meant it, but it still happens. And then that's another set of circumstances or emotions you have to deal with. And men don't understand that we process everything on the emotional level, and usually in the order that we experienced it. So where they might be, oh, you already apologized for that, I'm good, but now we're still, but I made them feel a way, or I did that. So every time we're in a situation or a conversation, my head is usually spinning like, make sure you're saying this in a way so they know you're not mad, you're just saying it how you feel it. Like, so this is not going to drag on. I'm not punishing you. I'm not keeping account of wrong. I'm just I'm trying to be honest and upfront so we don't make this drag out.
Right.
But age and personality plays a part.
Yeah.
Anna definitely agree with you. And I think we have to realize that a lot of us, we process differently. And then after we process, we also communicate differently. So how we communicate, women and men communicate totally different, right? I can send a paragraph in a text message with all the punctuation and capital letters, and the man can respond like, okay, we'll talk about it soon. And that may frustrate me. He may
Drives
think,
me
well, I
crazy.
acknowledged it. Right. I'm like, I will choke you. Right. Like, what are you doing? But, you know, communication styles are different, but that does not necessarily make them wrong. And I think both genders have to be intentional about explaining when we say something what we really mean. Because I know there have been times where I've said, somebody say, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. And I really wasn't. Maybe it was because I didn't want to deal with it, or maybe I was just dealing with myself. I wasn't ready to talk about it with that person. But to the other person, if like Nathan said, if you know, if they're asking how you're doing and you're saying nothing, they're going to take it for face value. You know, and then it's like, well, you lied to me when I asked you. And it's like, well, I wasn't lying, right? I wasn't ready to talk about it. So then we have to think about, why is it that we don't just say, I'm not ready to talk about it?
I think I know why. One reason is if they say what's wrong and you say, I don't want to talk about it right now. For some people, again, personality, they spend their time and their energy trying to get you to be ready to talk about it right now. Like they keep saying things like I'll listen, or you sure you don't want to talk about it? Yes, I was sure when I said it. You're uncomfortable now. One reason is because they're trying to figure out, is it them? Is it something I said or done? Again, that's why let me speak for me. It's usually if I say it, it's because there's nothing wrong, or I'm not ready to talk about it. And I know saying that to you is still going to continue this conversation. Now you're going to try to figure out, you're trying to investigate so you can help me, which is going to cause another set of feelings for me. Now I am aggravated. That's what's wrong, because I said nothing and you're still trying to pursue it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, and I think this could be a good segue to another point, sometimes we may not feel safe with you and expressing our feelings. And I think that's something maybe we could talk about, of how can men help us to feel safe and expressing our feelings and emotions. I know for me, the older I've gotten, it's become easier. I mean, verbally expressing, because I've always been more emotional. Like growing up, I would cry very easily, and it's something I couldn't stand about myself. And then as I got older, I found myself trying and change that part, or turn that part off. But that was something that my husband loved about me, that I was emotional, that I would express emotion of how I felt. But then there would also be times where I would find myself sometimes in expressing how I felt, or not expressing, because I didn't want to feel like I was emasculating him. Like I didn't ever want him to feel like I'm beating him up, or I'm like, goodness, I'm saying more of what is wrong or what he's not doing than I am affirming him and saying what he is or what he is doing. Which is also another balance too, but not to get back off topic. It's sometimes I feel we may not just say we're not ready to talk, or why, because we don't feel safe. And for me, feeling safe is consistency in showing up. And it's not just something, even helping with the mental load, because this is a whole nother topic, but women, especially women in general, but there's a different dynamic when you're married and have families and stuff, that there's a mental load that women carry in a way that men don't have to carry. So sometimes it's the little things of helping me share the mental load when you can, because men have their own thing. I'm not taking that away from them, but for me to feel safe, how about the caring, considering me, considering my opinion, making me feel like a partner? I'm very fine with submission, but also I don't want to feel like you look at me like I'm your child. Like I'm and you're telling me what to do, and the way you're communicating what it is to me. So I feel like for men out there, sometimes it's considering and just talking to them like we're human beings. Because sometimes I know we say we're all human, but sometimes we have a tendency, or I have experience, where sometimes men still don't look at women as if we're in the same class and species as them. It's almost like you're a human being, but we're not. So we're always treated or talked to like we can't handle things. And sometimes it's just having a conversation, communicating with us, and you'll find out the person that you're with, what their capacity is and what they can handle. And wherever their weaknesses are, that's where you're strong. That's what makes relationships in any way work. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Camille, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, to your point, Jaleesa, for me, like, safety is a big thing. Like, if I don't feel safe, I'm not going to tell you what I'm actually feeling.
Right.
In dating, I need to get to know you. I need to get to know who you are, how I need to know, how you communicate, like there's so much that goes into it before I can be emotionally, I guess, available or feel safe with you. I'm not just going to pour my heart out on the first date and be like, this is just how I feel. Like, no, I need to get to know, I need to know this is a safe space in other ways first before that's unlocked.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think when it comes to safety, a lot of times when you hear the word safety, you automatically think protection, like a physical protection if something is about to happen. But safety goes far deeper. It goes way, way deeper than that. One thing I've learned to do, or I'm learning to do, is to pay attention to what my heart rate does and to what my nervous system does when I'm around a man.
Yeah.
If my heart rate isn't slowing down and my nervous system isn't calm, I need to go. Because if I'm jittery and when I'm around you, I'm still jittery, that means something isn't aligned. Something isn't right. And it may be different for different people, but those are two of the things that I'm learning to pay attention to, because I don't want you just to be able to protect me in the physical sense, but I want you to protect me when you feel like I'm being down on myself. Instead of looking to fix everything, I want you to first be intentional about understanding how I feel. You can't fix something that you don't understand. And so that's a way of you protecting my emotional capacity. Or if you see that I'm totally drained and I've, say I've been complaining about work or something for 3 days straight, and you can see that it's taking a physical toll on me. As a man, I want you to be able to see that and say, yo, let's do something to get your mind off of it. I see that you're stressed. That's you caring about my mental health. That's a mental safety. And I don't think people always think about that in that sense. And so I think men have to understand that your tone, you can have the right message, but if you don't have the right tone, that message is not going to land well.
Right.
It is not
Your, your behavior and tone will diminish the message.
Completely.
Absolutely. Body language. You can't say the right thing and then be frowning up and doing all that, because a shutdown will come.
And that's both ways. That's us too. Because sometimes the way we talk will shut them down for even being available to attempt to get an understanding of what it is that we're feeling in a moment. And I liken it to, I can remember being a child or a teenager, and sometimes we would measure our parents' mood by how they answered, even if we just called their name. If I said mommy and she was like, what? And never mind. I would just automatically shut down. Whatever it was, it could have been an emergency, but never mind. We do that to sometimes. And again, it doesn't just happen in relationships with men where it's a romantic one. It could be your sibling, your brother, or your father, or even somebody who is in a position of leadership or authority over you, the same way. And for any men listening or women who don't realize they do this, when we're saying safe, just like Tanika said, we don't just mean physical, where you would protect me from harm, but sometimes women, we tend to do this. If a man shares a feeling with us, an emotions, and he feels safe with us, or vice versa, then later on when we're mad and we use that information that they gave us against them, or they use it against us, that's enough to shut you down for a lifetime. You'll probably never share with them on a deeper level ever again. That's what we mean when we're saying it has to be a safe space for us. I liken it to the scripture when it talks about what love is and how it doesn't keep any record of wrong. If you're doing that and saying, then you wonder why, and you throw the thing up that hurt them, that they were vulnerable enough to share with you, you throw it up in their face in an argument or something later. To me, you've been keeping a record of that. I call putting it in your pocket, waiting to just use it later on.
And I think it was Jaleesa who said something about consistency. And so feeling hurt consistently is what's going to build the trust. But trust isn't something that's built in a moment. Like you got to work on that thing. And it's amazing that you work hard to build trust, and yet trust can be broken in an instance.
So
like I mean, if you're dishonest about whatever, it can be the smallest or the biggest thing, but dishonesty will break trust, and it can break it forever. And sometimes you can't get back to that spot. You just can't.
It's a thin line. It's a thin line.
Yeah.
But I think that's something as us women kind of need to understand in general, that in any relationship, but especially in romantic relationships, we have to learn to always be forgiving, but at the same time understanding that if a wrong is done and this happens on both ends, sometimes we're always chasing, trying to get back to the thing that we were before. Well, we're not those same people
Nope.
anymore.
Mhm.
So you're trying to get back to, oh, how it was before. That's not going to happen. Why can't we move forward? Let's recreate what we are now. We're trying to recapture, oh, when we first fell in love, when we
Right.
first did it, we're two different people now.
Yeah.
Right.
We're trying to
Yep.
recapture that, or trying to recapture who we
Yeah.
were before the wrong was done. That person is gone. Like,
Yep.
It
we need
is.
Right.
to move on to the next person and stop always trying to go back. And I think sometimes we can romanticize things, because movies and TV shows
Yeah.
really do put pictures out there of fantasy things that are not always realistic. Not saying that there cannot be really for real fairy tale marriages and relationships and whatever that looks like for the individual relationships, but it's being mindful of being realistic and not always looking at things supposed to go back to a fairy tale type of thing,
Right.
or a fairy tale type
Mhm.
of way. And always being forgiving. I think that's on both ends, because it can be hard for men as well, for them to be easily forgiving of the things that
Yeah.
we say and do. And sometimes our
Hmm.
tone, and there's things that men don't understand in the sense of, and this is not a cop out because this really does happen. There are things that go on in women's bodies daily that
Yeah.
do affect
I have
It
no
really
idea.
does.
how we feel, our
Yeah.
emotions, what's
Mhm.
going on. And it's not to excuse someone just being sharp or
No.
nasty or harsh all the time. But there really are
Right.
things that are going on that are not in our control. And they do
Yeah.
kind of influence how we react, how we
They
respond, how
really
we,
do.
Mhm.
and
Yep.
that's something that we constantly are learning and adjusting and
Right.
figuring it out. What does that mean? Or what is this
Right.
or that? Oh, this is because of that. So now, and then we
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
to make concerted efforts
Right.
to, I'm not going to allow that to control and dictate my mood totally. There may be some
Right.
things I can't control physiologically, but I do
Mhm.
have control over my body and my mouth enough that I may not be
Yeah.
in the mood today, or I'm just a grumpy today. My husband and I do that all the time. We've gotten to a point where we've gotten real, we're very honest with each other. If people listen to us, they would think, y'all talk to each other like that? And that works
Mhm.
for us. We are just very honest,
Mhm.
even about some
Yeah.
stuff. And it's just, and people are looking at us and we're not even mad. Like, we can laugh about some of the stuff that we've said to each other, but we're very upfront where I'm not in the mood today, or I'm
Mhm.
grumpy today,
Mhm.
or he's coming in the room. I was like, I'm annoyed right now. That way it
Mm.
helps him know how to approach me, or know this
Yeah.
may not be
Absolutely.
the time to
Or
joke.
don't approach, but
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
this
It's
may
that
not be the time
self-awareness.
to joke with her. This may not be the time to
Yeah.
Yeah.
say this. Something she may laugh about any other time, and now's not the time.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Right. So in those moments, here's a question. Do small, consistent actions matter more than big gestures
Oh,
in those
yes.
moments?
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
I take the
definitely.
small. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
Yes.
give me the small things. Small things matter.
Mhm.
Small things,
Yep.
because small things let me know that you've been paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
Exactly.
When you do something like, I mean, it could be the smallest thing. Like maybe I said I wanted some chicken noodle soup, and I'm not a soup person, right? So say I said I got a taste for some chicken noodle soup. I just think it'll make me warm. I've been cold all day, and maybe 2 days later you pop up with some chicken noodle soup, or you send it, or you send a bird, or DoorDash, or whatever. That's gonna make me think like, yo, you were listening. Like you
Yeah.
might not have been digging for a lot of information as to what has me so cold and what's going on, but the fact that you heard a small request, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chicken noodle soup don't cost that much, thankfully,
Right.
but that small gesture of just being heard. And if people
Mhm.
consistently do that, that's going to build trust and that emotional safety. And oftentimes what I realize is that when a person does what a person does for me, especially a male, I look to reciprocate it.
Mm-hmm.
If you take care of women, women are going to take
Mm.
care of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
No,
I don't think men
absolutely.
always get that. Like
Right.
we'll take care of you if we feel safe.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about the
Mhm.
consideration, like being considerate
Mhm.
and thinking of me and the little things, and then the big things come great, but being consistent and considerate is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a commercial break real quick, y'all. Let's talk to the audience. For those just tuning in, this is the Female Takeover, What Men Don't Understand. We have an all-women panel here, and we're having a great conversation so far. We have plenty of people tuned in. Those that are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube, can we hear you in the comments? Are you enjoying the conversation? Do you have any input? We'd like to hear from y'all. What are some things that men need to understand that'll help in our everyday movings around with the male species? Also, please like, share, comment. I'm seeing plenty of people that are watching live. Let's get those likes up. Let's get those shares up. If you're going to be watching the replay, you can also put in the comment replay. But let's see who we have here so far. There were some conversations that were happening during the during the grand prize. We have Jay Lane's parents here talking about give it to her parents.
You thought about it, but nah.
Yeah, she already getting her weekly drawing gift. We have our interim producer here, Miss Erica. She was saying she's telling Jade, "Oh,
not you gonna tell
on our side."
You're
right, you're supposed to be on our side. Oh, and Dr. Hamid Washington, he was in the comments talking about Talk Miss Marcia. I forget what part he said that in, but you have a fan there. And then Miss Peggy Anderson.
She's talking good now.
Right. Peggy, thank you for joining us tonight. And again, the Female Takeover, what men don't understand. So far, we've been talking about emotions, women, what we can do better, what women need to kind of help feel safe to open up and to share. Let's see, where can we go from here? There's so many places that we can go. What were we last talking about? The little things, the little consistencies.
So we were still talking about like emotional safety and consistency. So we can kind of segue into intentions versus misinterpretations. And so sometimes nobody is wrong. It's just misunderstood.
Right.
What do y'all think about that statement? Yeah. But what is it like when intent doesn't always match impact? So your actions got to match. Your actions got to match.
Definitely. There should be corresponding actions with the words for sure. And if we're going back to the consistency thing, that's setting a pattern. So if you're consistently inconsistent, then we won't trust you. We can't rely on you. But if you're faithful and reliable in what you say, and your actions match that, we'll know. Even if you say I'm going to do it at 8:30, and 8:30 comes, and this comes with growth in relationships. You're not necessarily feeling or thinking, or you shouldn't be having these high of expectations in the beginning of a relationship if it's a romantic one. Even with your siblings or something, you know their character and their personality. If they tell you they're going to do something, and history has already shown you that they will, and they said at 8:30, but it's 8:35, but I'm still going to have confidence in them. They're going to do it. And sure enough, 8:37, here they come. I'm sorry, I know I said 8:30, but I got caught up doing something. You're not so bent out of shape that you can't move forward past that. Because something Jaleesa said earlier, when we're going through things and there are misunderstandings and we hold on to that, yes, we're saying you need to grow and get to the point where you can move on. But we don't meet it in a way like, just get over it. Yeah, I did it. I'm not taking accountability for it. But if you talk about it, deal with it, you should either, and stop trying to recapture, like Jaleesa said, a moment in time or a season in a certain relationship. You're either, you should be evolving, because if you're not, you're regressing. You can't stay the same. After you go, if you go through certain things, you're not going to remain the same. You're just not. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes the problem is where one is evolving as it relates to the relationship, and somebody else is regressing, or they're stagnant. They're just staying the same. So you do have to learn to, I can't recapture this moment and live in it forever. And truth be told, as much as we would love to live in the honeymoon phase of every relationship, you just can't. Even physically, think of the times that your body has responded, like whether it was a scare or something happened, startles you, and your heart rate picks up real fast. If that's ever happened, you kind of get out of breath. You can't live in that state forever. There's too much going on in your body and your system. Yes, you have to come down and level out somewhere and balance out. So that's a false thinking, and so many of us have done that, and then we don't understand why he is not still responding the same way, because he's already grasped probably, but you haven't yet. Oh, I still want to be with you, I still love you, care about you, but we can't live up on the mountain 24/7. We still have to come down and go to work. That can be a culture shock to a relationship, because I can remember when I first got married and I wanted to stay in that place all the time, and we got married on a Saturday, and on the following Monday after the honeymoon and everything, oh, bye, because I have to go to work and so do you. Oh, you mean we can't just stay here like we were on the honeymoon all day together? Nope, as much as you want to. But guess what? If the Lord allows and the time keeps on ticking, we'll see each other again at the end of the day. You'll have that time. You have to learn to find that balance and not be mad, or your actions communicate that, oh, I have an attitude because it's not how I wanted it to be or how I wanted it to stay. It just doesn't happen. And sometimes we're talking about expressing how we feel. We do that well. We express how we feel very well. What we don't do is articulate what we're really feeling well. And we think that they're supposed to read our actions and know what it is that we're really thinking and feeling on the inside. It doesn't happen that way. You have to know somebody really well, or have been with them for a while, to kind of know their personality or their character. And they'll know. When Jaleesa said earlier, like, this is how me and my husband talk to us, like, I'm not in the mood. Sometimes even my husband, he'll just already know. And I know he knows, because where he'll come in usually being silly, the look on my face is already saying, and it ain't even about you, but it's already saying, he'll be like, he'll go, right, let me leave her alone. And I'll do the same thing. If something is, I know something irritated him that had nothing to do with me, and it's not easy to read that with him, but because I know him, and I'd be like, I ain't gonna say, because the worst thing for somebody to do for me when I'm irritated or angry, and somebody says, what's wrong? All you're doing is exacerbating it. Just keep it moving. When I'm ready to talk about you, won't have to ask me. I'll just talk to you. You have to, but those things come with time in a relationship. And sometimes we're expecting people to already know these things early on. And men don't necessarily like playing that game with us either, figure it out. If he really cared, he would figure out when my birthday is, that I want soup on a cold day, even though I don't really
sick of that
like
conversation
soup.
right there.
No, just say what it is.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
We playing games sometimes. We'll play games and be like, I want him to know without me having to tell him, but I want him to know before I know. And
right. Sometimes we don't even know.
Right. What are you talking about?
But I think Miss Marcia, you said so much good stuff. Oh my goodness. But I think the coin term was when you're inconsistently consistent. Inconsistent. Says something, but when you can be consistently consistent, it's easier to give grace. Right. If I know you're going to show up, and even though 8:30 is come and gone and now it's 8:37, I'm not going to mind giving grace, because I know you generally show up, or you generally communicate when you can't show up. But the times where you're not communicative, and you also just don't show up, because it just shows that you don't care. Right. And I think both sides have to give that grace, but you also got to remember that grace is going to eventually run out. Right. It's not so many benefits of the doubts we're going to keep giving. Right. If you're not showing me that you're trying to get better.
Right. There's still limits and boundaries.
See the effort, it's like, okay. Right. And I think just being honest about how we want someone to communicate, and also being honest about how we want to be treated. We were taught the golden rule, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Right. We've heard that. It's Bible, right? It's scripture. But then I learned the platinum rule. Right. Basically doing unto others what they want done to them. Sometimes you don't know how a person wants to be treated. Right. So you have to have that tough conversation, like, hey, I noticed X, Y, and Z, and I tried this, and it seemed like, this ticked you off, or this didn't settle well. Tell me what I can do differently. Tell me how you want this handled. And sometimes those conversations are tough. Right. That comes with being a mature adult and just simply communicating.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it boils down to, is communication at the end of the day. And how you're trying to effectively communicate, because communicating, people think that communication should just come naturally, and you should just know. No, even in that, you have to build to that. It takes multiple conversations, multiple situations to say, hey, I actually didn't like X, Y, and Z. Could you do this? Or and nobody wants to communicate these days. Everybody wants to just figure it out and just
or just know.
Much. Right. Just know. Yeah, like that's not realistic.
Right.
And that can cause for funny sides of miscommunication. Like with Jaleesa and Nathan, Nathan may do something to aggravate Jaleesa. He may do it intentionally. And later on, when we're on, in an SGR meeting, it may be an inside joke that they share with us, because now it's become like a picking point, but not to hurt the other one's feelings, but because you just can't take everything so seriously.
Right.
Some things are just very light, like it's a misunderstanding. It's not going to break up our marriage. It's not going to break up our, relationship. We can still be cool.
Right. Like, even though it may feel like
disagree. Right. Yeah, right. You may want to choke him. Right. You may want to choke him. You may want to choke him. But you're going to rock with him still. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, since we're talking about funny miscommunications, I have a story from when Nathan and I first got married. And when I say newly married, we got married in October. It was our first Thanksgiving. So we got married in October. This is November. This is a month later. Okay. And I can't remember specifically what it was. It was something with Thanksgiving, and I had the turkey in the oven, and I was leaving out for work. He was actually getting ready to take me to work. And I remember saying to him something along the lines of, hey, can you take the turkey out of the oven when whatever? I can't remember the specifics. So I've been at work 12, 13 hours. He's picking me up. It's now probably 11:30 at night. We're riding home. We're almost home. And I'm like, oh, did you take the turkey out of the oven? Oh. And you just hear this silence. Like, he's driving. And if you could picture him, he's holding the steering wheel and it's just silence. You can almost see the chin hairs shaking. He's nervous. He's not saying anything. And he's like, oh, you asked me to take something out of the oven? And I had been working on, at the time, being gracious or not snapping certain things. I didn't say anything. I just remember, I didn't say anything. I just sighed, and we rode the rest of the way home in silence. My annoyance was, if you didn't hear me, why didn't you just ask me what it was I said? Or, and all this time you notice that the turkey's in the oven. So the turkey has been in the oven almost 13, 14 hours. I don't even remember if the oven was on or not. I can't remember. The funniest part of the story was I was so annoyed with him that turkey stayed in that oven for 48 hours because I asked him to take it out, and he decided not to take it out. So it was going to stay in there until he took it out. Now, is that the best way to handle it? No. Do we laugh about it now? Yes. But it was one of those things of learning how to communicate and even being okay with saying, oh, I didn't hear you, or what did you say? Or he could have texted me, hey, the turkey's still in the oven. Did you want me to do something with this turkey? Right. Or I could have texted him, hey, babe, did you take the turkey out of the oven, or can you check the oven? Like, all those little things where we're assuming, especially in the beginning of marriages, sometimes you're expecting to have all these expectations and almost expecting, the person is not perfect, but sometimes internally or subconsciously you have this expectation of, they should be perfect. They should know this. They should understand or know how you think, when we're still getting to know each other in this way. Yeah, we may have dated for 2 years, but married us is different than engaged us, is different than dating us. So, yeah.
Right. And then I think as women, we can have these full conversations in our head before we utter a word.
Yes.
Like, we've had the I've said what I've said. I know what you're going to say. You said it, and I responded, and you responded to what you thought I was going to respond to. And it's doing all that hooting and hollering for absolutely no reason. No reason. For absolutely no reason. So thankfully, y'all were able to grow from that. Y'all are still married. I'm sure y'all were able to get another turkey, because that one was pretty much done. Oh, that's my brother DB. What up, DB? But that is funny. We appreciate you sharing that moment. Nathan, next time, get the turkey out. What she tell you to get the turkey out?
Yeah. What was the purpose of that story? Since we were talking about funny miscommunications, it's all of this. I feel like the whole premise of everything in general in life, but even what men don't understand, is just communicate with us. Let us just talk to us instead of just assuming or being afraid. And us women, we need to not make them feel afraid to talk to us or to ask us what's going on or what's wrong or what do you need. But it's just something as simple as, hey, babe, and not assuming. It's something you just said, Tanika, too, because we do it. We come in with expectations, or we have these delusions that we're expecting them to just know. Or we're sometimes we can have expectations of them to be like our fathers, and they're not our fathers. We're not married to our dad. This is our husband, and we know our dad from father-daughter relationship. We don't know them as a husband, which is something totally different. We don't know how they are as a husband. We only know them as the dad. And sometimes we can hold men to these expectations. Not saying you wouldn't want someone similar to your dad or have attributes of your father, but they're not your dad. So we need to start putting those expectations on them to act and respond and be all these things. Like they can't be vulnerable, they can't share. You're talking about them, you're treating them like they're a punk because they cry. You're treating them like they're a punk because they showed you some weakness. And I'm like, well, if the men don't feel safe with us, they're not going to give us some of the things we need. And in turn, we're going to continue the cycle of unhealthy relationships or just cycling through people because we're not growing and we're not evolving.
Right. Because I think we want to be that safe place for them. We should anyway. You know, they've had to fight and carry all the cares of the world on their shoulders all day. When you come home, when you come to this castle, I need you to know that you're the king and that you can be at peace. Right. Because if he's not at peace at home, where is he supposed to go?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Some other communication differences, especially in marriages. I've learned this. I heard this a while ago. And when I said it to my husband, he agreed. If you think of a newspaper and it says men are the headlines, women are the fine print. I've watched us read a newspaper. I read the whole article because I want all the details in it. Now he's just the headline and he can pretty much surmise what the details are going to tell you. And I said, is that really true? He's like, yes, because sometimes when I'm talking, I could tell when, all right, you said too much already. He don't want all the details, just give him the headline. So those are differences. But you know how you can read that sometimes, oh, he's just really not interested in what I'm saying. And that's not necessarily true. You said enough for him to get what he needed to get. So that is sometimes a communication difference in the way they just need the headlines. I prefer the fine print. I need all the details so I don't have any questions later. So.
Period. No, we can look at that as just being nonchalant, like, oh, he don't really care. He don't, it's not that serious. When it's not, it's far from what he was thinking. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, we are coming to a close, but we got a couple more things. At the end of the day, it's not about who is right. It's about understanding each other better. Right. So there's work on both sides that we both have to do, right? Men got to be more vulnerable. We just got to give a little grace, explain what we want, right? And not have these unrealistic expectations because it's easy to have them, right? We want people to do just like we are, right? But you didn't marry somebody that's your twin, right?
Right.
They're different. Everybody's different. And so communication improves when people slow down and listen. My pastor's wife often says, listen twice before you speak once. That's why you have two ears and one mouth. Listen twice before you speak once. And when she said that, I was like, I haven't perfected that yet, right? Because my mouth just moves quicker sometimes than my brain can send the signal to shut up. My mouth, it's just out there, But the one thing about what you say in words, once you say it, you can't take it back. You can apologize, you can do that, repent, forgive me, you can do all that, but people will remember what you said, right? And when you then make sure that apology is just as loud as the offense was.
That's true. That's true.
Make sure it match that energy.
Right. Yeah. And also be okay with the forgiveness and healing process. Because sometimes when we're wrong, we want people to give us time to get over and all that. But sometimes we want them to hurry up and, I apologize for that already. Or I'm sorry. Sometimes that may have deeply hurt them. We may think it's trivial, but if it really hurt them, sometimes they need time to calm down and get through it. And they could have forgiven you, but they still just ain't feeling you at the moment.
Right.
Give them the space to, I forgave you, but back up. I'm just
correct.
Yeah. Give me time.
Right. Yeah. Tanika, we have a question here in the comments. The question is, Do some women desire traditional relationship dynamics in their personal life, like wanting a man to lead, provide, or protect, while also desiring leadership, authority, and independence in their professional life? How do women balance those two worlds?
Mm.
Hmm. I mean, I
It
know for me
depends.
personally, I like the traditional relationship. It's one of those things where it is. I think that is always the issue with women and men in general. A lot of women don't know how to balance the I'm a boss here outside of the home, but in the home, he's the leader, he's the head, and we say we want him to be that, but we don't always allow them to be that because we're too busy trying to take control. We're too busy trying to dominate. We're too busy handling things. And sometimes it happens that way because they don't move at our pace, or they didn't move when we wanted them to. They didn't move how we wanted to, or being okay with their style of doing things. That's something I had to learn. I'm like, just because he does it differently doesn't make it wrong. Or just because he doesn't do it the way that I necessarily prefer doesn't make it wrong. Did it still give the same outcome? Are we still getting to the same goal? Then it's okay. So I would say for me, I'm traditional. I like the traditional approach. I want my man to lead and protect and provide, but I also, Nathan and I have more of a partnership. There's still very much he's the head. It's still very much he's in charge, but it's also being the head, like I said earlier, is learning what you're good at or what your areas of strength are, and areas that you may not be, being okay with your partner to take the lead on that. There's no sense in just because he's the man. If he's not good at cooking, or if he's not good at public speaking, just because he's the man, why are we going to keep pushing him out there to do it and make a fool of himself? Or make him uncomfortable? Because you would want him, as women, we would want our man to cover us and protect us in the areas that we may not be the best in. They would cover us, and they wouldn't put us out there like that. So we kind of want to give men the same thing.
Yeah. For me, I compartmentalize it. Like, it goes back to safety for me. If I feel safe, I can submit. And then like we're good on that front. But work is work. Like to me, it's like, it's just, for me, it's two different things. Boss me and relationship me are almost just two different people. Because it's a different level, it's a different relationship. It's just a different situation and environment that requires two different personalities, for me, at least.
Absolutely. Even in the dictionary, safe comes before submit. I'm not submitting somewhere where I'm not safe, right? And I think it's a part of leadership is knowing what your capabilities are, and being able to know what the capabilities of your team member is, right? So while you're my head and you're my leader as my husband, I'm also on your team. I'm a part of your team. And so we probably got together because you saw some strengths in me and maybe the areas that you're a little bit weaker on. And that doesn't make you a weak man. It also makes you a stronger man to say, hey, I got some weakness here, but I see it in you. And I think if we pair it together, we're going to be a dynamic duo. And so if we go about it that way, I don't want to be the one to make the decisions, but I want my opinion to be considered. And I like when somebody sees my worth enough that they consider, like, yo, let me see what T thinks, right? I'm still the decision because I'm the head of this castle, but I want to know your input. And he may not do that for every single decision of the house. But if I marry you, you got to know I'm a rock with you. Now, you might get a little bit of lip for not asking me on some things. The Lord's still working. Judgments can wait. The Lord's still working on me. But at the end of the day, I have to trust the God in you to make the right decision for us. You don't want to see me in a ditch. Neither do you want to see yourself in a ditch.
Yes.
So in that work, I mean, I'm striving to be the boss so my boss can get a promotion and I can get a promotion. My husband's not there, so, and I think as women, we already fight a battle where people don't think we're enough, right? We're already fighting that battle as women, and then we're Black women. And according to my vision, I'm the darkest one on here. And so colorism is real too. So we're fighting against gender, against race, and against colorism. So at work, do I walk in like a boss? Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm trying to get there.
Yes. Yeah.
Period. So, yeah.
Hear ye, hear ye. Elder wanted it to be known that I can cook because I made use the example.
I'm just kidding.
I used the example. The example wasn't about you, babe. I just picked cooking in general. And I have to shout out. I have to shout out Nellie Crystal. And I saw Tiffany Collier as well. Nellie Crystal, our new executive partner from Toledo, Ohio. She's been such a blessing to us. She's been supporting us. She's been shouting Sound Gospel Radio from the Himalayas and the mountaintops and the hills and the valley loops. So we just wanted to shout her out and let everyone know she's one of our new executive partners. I don't have time to get into what executive partners are, but if you want to know, you can see that down at the bottom, the website, soundgospelradio.com. You can get more information about what the executive partnership is. And Sister Tiffany Collier, good to see you. She enjoyed what you said, guys. Spoken once and twice. I've heard it. So that was going in line with what Tanika said of listening twice, speaking once.
That's it. Right. Period. Y'all, thank you. Hopefully you heard perspective, honesty, and a little humor. Understanding doesn't always come from being the same. It comes from being willing to listen and to learn from each other. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to my panel. I didn't do this by myself. We were in this thing together. And we thank our listeners for making such a sound decision to rock with us on Sound Gospel Radio. Tune in next Thursday.
Yes.
Same time.
Same time.
Station.
And as always,
tune in tomorrow too. 24/7.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I forgot to mention we're a radio station. I think y'all got the point.
Period.
Now.
Building hope.
Yeah.
Transforming lives. 24/7.
24/7. Sound Gospel Radio. Y'all next week, y'all.
Building hope. Transforming lives. 24/7. Sound Gospel Radio.